Today we're gonna be making steak, and what you're first gonna want to do is, dab off all like the cow blood, cow juice, whatever you want to call it. You're gonna want to do it for both sides, and just make sure it's all dry of the cow juice. And then what you're now gonna want to do, season it however you want, whether that be olive oil, salt, pepper, or just a steak seasoning you have. I'm gonna use my steak seasoning, and you're gonna wanna, just sprinkle it on there, and rub it in, and just add to your liking of however much or however little you want, and don't forget to get both sides of the steak. Because a one side seasoned steak is never a good steak. And yeah, you just want to do this until it's all seasoned, rubbed in, and everything. So now you're gonna want to put about that much butter, about that much butter into the pan, and you're gonna want to put the pan on high and wait for it to speed up or heat up. Once the pan's heated up and the butter's melted, it should look like this. And now here's where you're gonna want to place your steak in, right on top of the butter, and just wait for it to heat up. If you want to speed this up, you could just put a lid over it and just wait for it. Well, you'll know whenever it's ready to flip when you start hearing a lot of sizzling. Whenever you want to flip it, it should sound like this on the outside, and on the inside, something around there. And should look something like that on the outside, blood dripping. Just don't forget to put it in the butter. That's gonna help speed it just a tad up. And yeah, so you're gonna want to wait a few more minutes. About halfway through, should look like that. You might want to turn the heat down to low, and if you added the recommended amount of butter, good for you. You're gonna need to put it just a tad bit more. That also depends on your steak and how long you put it in there for. But yeah, just gonna leave it here for a bit, and yeah, come back later. So now the steak should look like that, depending on how long you put it in, when you put it on the pan. And so, you're gonna want to turn the heat off. I'm gonna grab your nearby local cutting board. Don't forget your chef's knife. And just see what it looks like on the inside. Knife in the dominant hand, and depending how well you like your steak, that probably looks good to you. But personally, I'm gonna want to put it in for just a little bit longer, and just for the inside to cook. And you're gonna want to leave it in. If you don't like it that way, leave it in for a bit longer. So occasionally you're gonna wanna, cut up your steak, see what it looks like on the inside. And if it's not good enough for you, you're gonna wanna put it back in the pan, and put it in for a bit longer. But this also can help just cook it a bit faster. But yeah, just make sure you don't start a grease fire. Once you cooked it to your desired temperature, likeness, I know good with English, you're gonna wanna turn off the heat. Grab your fork and just put the pieces on the cutting board. There's 200% an easier way to do this, but I am not going to do it. So from here, you're just going to cut up the steak. Yeah, look at that. That's good. It's my opinion. You want to cut up the steak to chewable bites. And the fat parts, if you like them, eat them. If you don't, give them to your local dog. Okay, housekeeping. And yeah, just cut them up and enjoy.